What's good people, and welcome to the Silly Nerdy Sometimes Wordy podcast, and I'm your host BK, and this is episode 46, really late 2024 NFL Draft first round QB thoughts on the Denver Broncos. And in this episode, I'm going to be covering my thoughts on the 2024 NFL Draft first round draft pick Denver Broncos. This is going to be the last of these episodes, looking at the situation the young quarterback is walking into, the weapons he'll have, and a look at the division, the AFC West, plus some nerdy notes. All right. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing very well out there. Always excited to talk some NFL. We are in the off season, and that's what we are going to do. Thanks for listening. And now let's get into the nerdy notes. And this nerdy notes, we have some more contract extensions, another contract extension to talk about. This time it comes out of the running back group coming from the New England Patriots. They have given an extension and agreed to terms with running back Ramondre Stevenson coming out of the 2021 NFL draft class. He signs a 4-year, $36 million deal, $17 million in total guarantees. The rest of the money will be made up in incentives through 2025 through 2028. And I was able to get that information per the website Sport Arc. And basically, if Ramondre Stevenson reaches 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards, and 1,600 yards, he will get $600,000 each level that he gets to. So $600,000 for 14, $600,000 for 15, $600,000 for 1,600 yards from scrimmage. You total that up. If he reaches 1,600 yards, he will get $1.8 million in bonuses just from that alone. Plus, there's an incentive of making the Pro Bowl team. If he makes the Pro Bowl, that will trigger another $600,000. And then another incentive if he makes the All-Pro team on the offensive side of the ball, that will trigger another $600,000 for his incentives. So lots of motivation along with winning to get to those numbers. We'll see how the team goes and the run game goes if he makes those incentives. Another thing to talk about is Tom Brady. As we know, if you don't know, Tom Brady is obviously retired. A few years ago, he signed a 10-year, $300 million deal to be a lead broadcaster with Fox, to be an analyst to call games. He didn't go into it right away. He took a year off to kind of practice and get things settled, after playing. But nonetheless, he's going to start year one of that 10-year deal calling games for Fox, which means Greg Olsen will now be on the number 2 team on Fox, and Tom Brady slides into the number 1 team. Side note, Greg Olsen will be one of the new broadcast teams on Madden 25. So that's exciting. But anyways, Tom Brady was recently on Fox, the show Kyle and Cowherd the Herd. He is a broadcaster. He's been around a long time. He was on ESPN for many years. Now he's with Fox, and they were talking there, and he said some interesting things, and the way he was talking about his time at New England, the way he practiced in cold weather, and just breaking down different coverages, different receivers in terms of getting them open and taking away receivers, and how it's easier to get the ball to slot receivers and tight ends, whereas the outside receivers, if they take away. So just the different way he was breaking down coverages and the way he was talking, it got me really excited to hear him call games this fall, coming on Fox, and I believe his first game he's going to be on will be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. So, but again, just hearing him talk and break down film, it seems as though he's going to be really good at it. Of course, he's going to prepare and work hard at it, but it gets me excited to hear him call games when September rolls around for Fox. So we'll see how that goes. Just wanted to mention that. And the last bit of nerdy notes is former college head coach, as recently as of Stanford, David Shaw. He has accepted a position in the front office of the Denver Broncos. He will be a senior personnel executive. Now, David Shaw has been a college head football coach for a long time. He was the head coach when Andrew Luck was the quarterback there at Stanford. And of course, he's been a coach in the NFL in the late 90s. He was on a coaching staff with the current head coach of the Denver Broncos right now. So that's the connection there, and how he has that job with the Denver Broncos. So we'll see how that goes. That's just a small bit of information, which will segue into our main topic, talking about the Denver Broncos, and we will now get into. So, as I said, the 2024 NFL Draft came and went back in April of this year, and the Denver Broncos had the number 12 overall pick, and they decided to draft quarterback Bo Nix out of the University of Oregon. Of course, last season, the Denver Broncos had Russell Wilson. Ultimately, they traded Russell Wilson to I think they let him go. The transaction escapes me, but he is no longer on the team. He is with the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, the Broncos are still paying a portion of Russell Wilson's salary, a large chunk of that salary. But anyways, Russell Wilson is no longer with the Denver Broncos. So now Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, is decided to go young and all in on quarterback Bo Nix. And that is who they drafted this year, number 12 overall. Now, also interesting enough, they came back around in the fourth round, and I believe they traded up to draft wide receiver Troy Franklin, who also happened to be he also went to the University of Oregon, was there at the same time as Bo Nix, and it was Bo Nix's number one wide receiver at the University of Oregon. So you're getting some trust there with having the receiver come along with the quarterback. So that is interesting. And we'll get to the weapons in a second. Let's talk about the offensive line from last season. Per player profile, their rating in terms of the tier they were on was in the tier great, just not elite, so pretty solid. And per Stat Muse, they gave up the sixth fewest sacks in the league last season with the number 52. So they gave up 52 sacks last season, which was pretty good, pretty solid. And they also made some moves prior to the draft. They traded their former first-round pick, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, to the Cleveland Browns. So he is no longer there. So now let's talk about the weapons that they do have there in Denver. Obviously, they still have, focusing on the wide receiver room, Cortland Sutton. He's been there for 7 years. He is their number one solid, very great wide receiver. So he's going to be the guy there, continue to be the guy there, actually. And then I mentioned earlier that they drafted Troy Franklin out of the University of Oregon, which happened to be at Oregon when Bo Nix was there. So you have some comfort Also on the wide receiver room, they have little Jordan Humphrey, and then Marvin Mims. He's entering the second year of his NFL career, so he had some flashes last season. Then moving on to the tight end room, we have Greg Dolch. He's flashed and have been solid the last so far. And they also have Thomas Yasin. He's a rookie out of Utah. He's an undrafted rookie, so we'll see how that goes. They also have Adam Trotman as well. Then moving on to the running back room, they have Jaleel McLaughlin, which he's flashed as well last season. I think I might have picked him up in fantasy at some point last season. And then they have Tyler Beatty. And then also they drafted Aldrick Estienne, rookie out of Notre Dame, in the 5th round. So it seems though probably it's going to be a battle between Aldrick Estienne and Jaleel McLaughlin for the number 1 running back spot. But it's also a possibility they're going to take the approach of the running back by committee, but we'll see how that goes. But that's the running back room. I believe they also have a fullback as well. And then the quarterback room is an interesting quarterback room. So obviously they drafted Bo Nix 1st round this year out of Oregon, number 12 overall. Earlier in the offseason, the Denver Broncos traded for Zach Wilson from the New York Jets. So now he is in that quarterback room. And then, of course, you have Jared Stidham. So an interesting quarterback room. You have pretty much young quarterbacks there, but Zach Wilson has been through some stuff, so he can, teach Bo Nix some things and, tell him what not to do and some things what to do. So a young quarterback room, not a long-time established veteran in there, but we'll see how that goes. It is expected to be that Bo Nix is going to be the guy. I think Sean Payton has mentioned that he sees some Drew Brees traits in Bo Nix. So we will see how this goes. We'll see how much he plays in preseason. And if he is indeed going to be starting week 1, I don't know if he's been named the starter yet. But that is the quarterback room. And the other thing is the division that Bo Nix is entering. This is the AFC West, and it is a tough division. Obviously, you have the 2-time back-to-back defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. You have the Las Vegas Raiders. You have the Los Angeles Chargers with new head coach Harbaugh. So that is a tough division. And based on that, I believe that the Broncos will finish last in that division. And it will be between the Kansas City Chiefs and I think, if those teams can stay healthy, and depending on the quarterback play of the Oakland Raiders, maybe they have a chance to fight for a wild card. But I think the division will come down between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers, with Justin Herbert there at quarterback and Jim Harbaugh there. So what you want to see is hopefully you see some flashes from Bo Nix, some growth and development, and wins a couple games, wins some close games, maybe some comebacks, and you come at the end of the season and you know that you have your guy at quarterback, and then you can continue to build through there. I don't expect them to come out the gates and win the division. Of course, that's why you play the games, and of course, they can always prove me wrong and every side outside of that building. So that is the AFC West, a very tough division that they will be in. So we'll see how that plays out. And I believe that is all I have for that. And this brings to an end this little series of first round quarterback picks in the 2024 NFL draft. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for listening. Please check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and Pandora. And hope everybody is doing well. Please come back and check us out. Hope you learned something. And until next time, we will talk soon.